introductions this evening, would you please rise for the playing of our national anthem? First, introducing this starting lineup for the Corsairs of Santa Monica. Number 1, Paula Hicks. Number 2, Elena Eckhart. Number 5, Megan Middleton. Number 6, Chelsea Boswick. Number 8, Cameron Smurfbach. Number 11, Megan Yoon. And number 17, Kelsey Mullet. Corsairs are coached by Coach Turnham Douglas, assisted by Joe Manzo. Now introducing your starting lineup for your Cuesta College Cougars. Number 1, Colby Woodside. Number 2, Taylor Rasmussen. Number 6, Mariah Hall. Number 8, Kelly Cole. Number 11, Katie Dunham. And number 12, Dakota Shin. The Cougars are coached by head coach Whitney Meyer.
And welcome to Cuesta HD TV's production of Cuesta College Volleyball. Tonight, the Cougars taking on the Corsairs of Santa Monica College. Good evening, I'm Randy Scovil along with Marci Beddell, who's the head coach at San Luis High. And here to join us with some analysis of Marci, a really interesting match tonight in that we've got two teams coming in on win streaks, but both missing key players, though for different reasons.
Absolutely, yes. Santa Monica is missing quite a few players due to injuries, and then Cuesta College is missing one of their best outside headers because of the rodeo, incidentally enough, which is, you know, kind of interesting issue to have as a coach for an athlete to miss due to something else, and a key player at that. So it should be an interesting match. Like I said, both teams coming off win streaks, and with missing players, it'll be interesting.
Cougars at 8-4, and the Corsairs 4-3. Both have won 3 in a row. Also, a big change for Cuesta this year. Rocky Nystrom, after 8 years as assistant, 25 as the head coach, has now stepped back to be the assistant coach, and Whitney Meyer, former player and assistant coach, is taking over.
Yeah, I think Whitney to step in after Rocky's very, very long tenure is always a little bit intimidating as any kind of young coach coming in. But luckily, you know, Rocky's still here. She's still helping, and I'm sure still mentoring Whitney. And it looks like Whitney's doing a great job. She's young, she's super energetic, and the Cougars are having a great season so far.
We're about ready to start things off again. The Cougars, this is effectively what's called a crossover. It's not part of their division, but Santa Monica is within the Western State Conference, and the Cougars played a similar out-of-division matchup against West LA on Wednesday, and they won that one in straight games. As back to serve, we are underway for the Cougars. That's going to be Bailey Price, and Santa Monica gets on the board first. Quick substitution coming in. It's going to be Taylor Burks in for Cameron Sumaripa for the Corsairs, who take the quick 1-0 lead. And going back to serve is going to be Burks. So typical, you have people as a coach rotate in right before they're about to serve.
Absolutely, yes. She's what we would call a defensive specialist and serving specialist, apparently. She just got an ace there, service ace off of the libero for Cuesta College.
And again, we'll identify players as we go through. So Burke starts off with the ace, as mentioned by Marci, but the second serve goes long. Cuesta's first point, side out, and the point. One serving two, and it's going to be Katie Donham, a freshman out of King City High School, to set the first Cuesta serve into play, which will be taken in the middle row and set up for a left side attack. Dug by the Cougars, and coming from the left side through the block, that's Rasmussen for the Cougars. Sat back over free and dug to the left side. Santa Monica going left again, blocked though by the Cougars, and the Cougars pick up their second point.
That's a great block by the Cougars. You know, looking at their team, they're not necessarily very tall, but they're very athletic and they jump very high, so they can get some good blocks in there.
Donham and Dakota Shin, who also plays basketball here at Cuesta, as we have a service ace for the Cougars. The tallest players in the starting lineup at 5'10". They also feature Abby Vieira at 5'11". Cougars at their first lead, 3 serving 2. And we'll go back to Katie Donham again. We're early in the first game of the match. From the back row, the attack coming from Santa Monica, and now they dig it and send it back over again. And a point in the back row for the Corsairs. They get the serve back at 3-3. This time it will be Megan Middleton. She's a sophomore setter out of Pacific Palisades and Palisades Charter High School. Set to the middle and finding an open spot is Kelly Cole, who is the kill leader in almost every match this year for the Cougars. They get it back with a 4-3 lead. And it will be Taylor Rasmussen, 5'7" outside hitter out of Pine Grove High School in Amador. Back set, and the right side attack goes through the block, and a point for Santa Monica. New server is going to be Chelsea Bostwick out of Malibu High School, native of Agoura Hills. In a 4-4 game one, sends it into the net, 5-4 Cuesta, as the libero will come out. That is Bailey Price. And a rotation in, we will see Colby Woodside back to serve for the Cougars will be Kelly Cole out of Garces Memorial. (5-4) first game. Dug but sent out of bounds, 6-4.
I'm noticing too for Cuesta, they have 7 freshmen here today and only 2 sophomores as well. So they're having a great season to be first-year coach, young team, and to be on a win streak is awesome.
Going on the angle, Elena Eckhart, number 2 for Santa Monica, to get the serve back. She's out of Palm Springs High School, and Megan Yoon from Culver City High School, the libero, and you can tell from the different color jersey back to serve. It's going to be 5 serving 6 in game one. And mishandled by Rasmussen. And again, the libero is a relatively new rule, and it does allow coaches a lot of flexibility. Can you give us kind of an idea of what you can do with that, and as a coach, how you like to use that?
Absolutely, yes. The libero can go in for anybody in the back row. They are only allowed to serve for 1 player, which is kind of the caveat there. You're only allowed to serve for 1 player on the court, but she can go in and out if she subs in and she plays rotations. If she comes out, she has to sit out at least 1 play. And they're not allowed to set in the front row inside the what's called our 10-foot line. So you can't be a setter and continue to set other players. So you can only be in the back row. You can only use your hands behind that 10-foot line mark.
And the idea behind that rule change when it came about was really just to kind of foster more defensive play, but also serving, so it's not purely a front row game.
Absolutely, and I think giving some honor to the little girls on the court, giving a little bit of credit to the girls. Just because you're not 6 foot tall doesn't mean that you don't contribute to your team. So it really gave a lot of opportunities to those girls who may not be 6 feet. It gives you a major purpose on your team.
Cuesta having a couple free hits and then having trouble at the net there will be a point for Santa Monica. It's 8-6 in game one. Yoon, the libero, to serve again. Nice the way that serve kind of drops off the table. That's nice technique.
Yoon has a great serve. She's doing a great job. You can notice that she's moving them deep. She's moving them short, really keeping them guessing.
And a lot of that, too, isn't it, kind of as a server, you kind of put English on the ball as you serve. At least that's how one volleyball coach described it to me once, to make it kind of have that knuckleball effect.
Yeah, your goal is to try to make it move, not make it spin. That's what we always tell the girls. You want it to move, not to spin. A ball that spins is pretty easy to pass.
Ball's been hit long, and Cuesta with the first serve in a while as Santa Monica able to build out a 10-7 lead. Back to serve for the Cougars, Mariah Hall, one of the two sophomores that Marci was talking about, and her serve will go long. It's going to be 11 serving 7 for the Corsairs with Paula Hicks out of Palmdale back to serve. Mentioned Whitney Meyer as the coach. It's Turhan Douglas, along with Joe Manzo, are the coaches for Santa Monica. Left side attack sent back, though, by the Cougars. Yoon sets it, and the attack on the right side off the deflection. It is a point, and Cameron Sumaripa from Palm Springs registers the kill to make it 11-7. Through the block, and a Cougar point for Dakota Shin. And it will be Colby Woodside to serve for the Cougars at 8-12. In fact, we were talking with Turin Douglas. We were talking with him about his team, and he said, can I get out my pen? Because you were talking about those injuries. We have 5 names crossed out on their roster tonight as the Cougars able to drop in one and pick up a point to get within 3 as Whitney Meyer out to offer some pointers for her team. And again, 8-4 record in his first year as head coach for the Cougars. Left side and a free hit over, taken by the Cougars in the back row, set for the left side. Yoon digs it. And the attack coming from Eckhart. Over the right side, Cougars trying to chase it down, keep it in play, and we'll have to free hit it over. Right side dinked. Left side. Cougars. Rasmussen got it through the block. Left side. Going deep, Doug. And then from the back row, it's Kelly Cole who got the dig and then the kill for the Cougars at 10 serving 12. Woodside. And they go from the right side through the block.
Santa Monica is just doing an amazing job of running a really fast offense. You'll notice they're tooling the block a lot. They hit and the ball goes off of Cuesta College's block. They're just running a really quick offense.
And also just the positioning, too. Obviously, it's something you work in. You have somebody calling out. Everybody knows where they go. You're setting up an attack for a particular part of the net.
Yes, absolutely.
Waiting for the clearance to serve is Elena Eckhart, and she will set into play well long to the Cougars. It'll be 11-7-13 in game 1. Cuesta libero Bailey Price with the serve dug out by our opposite number, Yoon. And Sumaripa from the right side again. When you set up an attack just strategically as a coach, certainly you're looking for different matchups as far as your rotation, the other team, but also is it something where sometimes you will favor one side or the other if you see the advantage?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on the blocking, you can see here on Cuesta's side, number 2 is on the outside right now, and she's a little bit on the smaller side in comparison to number 11, Katie Donham, who's 5'10". So yeah, as a coach, I would say, go towards Rasmussen's side, who's 5'7", versus going to the 5'10" side.
Serve coming over from Burks as Woodside. It's sent back and popped over free. Kept in play, though, by Mariah Hall. A one-handed dig attempt from Price, who dove for it. It was a game attempt, but unfortunately cannot keep it in play, and the Corsairs build their lead to 16-11.
And number 17 for Santa Monica, Kelsey Mole, is a great example of why, as a coach, you really want to try to recruit athletes, not just people who play a certain position. She's listed as being an opposite hitter, but I think due to their injuries, she's playing middle blocker right now, and she's doing an awesome job at that adjustment.
Hit in the back row as Taylor Rasmussen, with great location, gets the Cougars to serve back at 12-16. It'll be Katie Donham back to serve for the second time. Left side, sent back though by Hall and Cole, but eventually lost by the Cougars, and it will go back to the Corsairs, 17 serving 12. Middleton serving once more. And surprise in the second hit, Cougars tried to get it over, but were able to hit it free, and it will go out of bounds for another Corsair point. Sent long by Colby Whiteside. Then we get 19-12, and opportune time for Whitney Meyer to call a timeout. It seems a little out of sync offensively. Santa Monica's putting together something. Good timing on the timeout.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say good timing on the timeout. I think you really want to try to stop Santa Monica's momentum that's happening right now. Cuesta College has missed quite a few serves, and the few opportunities that they've had to serve, they've missed a few serves and have had some unforced errors. And they just have to really try to stop the momentum. Taking a timeout is always what we call a coach's point. You're hoping for the missed serve after that. That's what you call a coach's point. So we'll see how Santa Monica returns back after this.
Well, you certainly want to break up their momentum, but as far as Whitney Meyer and what she's telling her team, what are her points of emphasis right now?
I would say making sure that they're covering. Santa Monica has a really good block, and they've blocked them quite a few times. So making sure that they're covering and that their block is set. As I had said earlier, Santa Monica just runs a super fast offense, and sometimes their block's not getting set.
And is that a function of experience, just team speed? When you say it runs fast, what are some of the elements that make that happen?
Just the speed of the ball. The distance between a pass and a set and a hit is very, very quick in between. And I would say that in comparison to other teams, they pass the ball really high. Santa Monica does a really good job at passing the ball really low. Their sets are really low, so the distance between every contact of every ball is very fast.
Right, and it's easier to take advantage.
Absolutely.
Quest
is just not getting set up in their blocking scheme quick enough.
Middleton had an ace, but then the Cougars respond and will get the serve back, trying to work back after that timeout. 13-20 for the Cougars. Again, both teams have won 3 matches in a row. In fact, the Cougars 6 of their last 7 and the Corsairs 4 of their last 5. Taylor Rasmussen will set the serve. Yoon able to field it, but a surprise. Chelsea Boswick wasn't sure what was happening there.
Miscommunication there. That's rough for any coach.
Yoon will set it high, and Boswick will send it into play from the back row. Coming cross court. Nice dig, though, back over by Santa Monica, as Kelly Cole finds the back corner and gets the Cougars another point at 15-20.
Number 8, Kelly Cole, is such a prime example of somebody that, she's not very tall, especially as a middle blocker, but she can jump. Her vertical is so high, and she does a really good job of getting quick off the net and up for every single hit. She is a great athlete.
Now we got a timeout called by Santa Monica. Well, as far as middle blocker, and you would think, especially volleyball being in the middle, it's going to be somebody, like you say, who's going to be tall, obviously athletic, but what are some other skills you look for in an excellent middle blocker?
It kind of varies. There's 2 types of middle blockers. You have the middle blockers that are very tall and maybe a little bit on the slower side, but they're so tall that they're going to be very strong and just big blockers. And then you have other middle blockers like Kelly that are maybe not necessarily on the tall side, but they're so fast. And so your matchups, it just kind of depends. She's not very tall, but she's so fast. She could potentially run circles around the kind of bigger, slower middles. So there's not necessarily one, physical type. It's just kind of what works for you and your offense.
Yeah, somebody who can dominate the net and
Absolutely.
get up there and play defense and get kills.
And get some blocks.
Taylor Rasmussen into the net, and that will send it over to the Corsairs at 21-15.
Those unforced errors are just really making it difficult for Cuesta to get any momentum in this match.
Chelsea Boswick, one of 3 sophomores who is active tonight, or who are active, I should say, tonight. The block back to the Cougars, and we have a violation on the Cougars, another point, and Boswick will go back to serve 3 points away from game 1, 22-15. Bit of a miss hit, and that got Colby Whiteside, or Woodside rather, excuse me, out of position and sent that out of bounds, 23-15. Boswick with another serve. Woodside sends it over. And looked like, in this case, double hit. Different than a carry, I know, as you told me before the match. It's important, and it's also important to have good officials who can tell the difference.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, I would definitely say officials, they have the hardest job. As much as a coach is hard and being a player is difficult, there's so many intricacies to calling what an actual double is.
In this case, a net violation. That will give the Cougars a point, and these officials, certainly as a local coach, you're very familiar with, and I know you're saying before the match, really an excellent set of officials tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. These are probably some of my favorite referees.
On the left side, kept in play by the Cougars. To the back row, though, it's going to be Cole who will send it over. Boswick fields it, and a back set. Coming from the right side off the Cuesta block, and it will be game 1 point. And who are tonight's officials?
I know Jim, who's the down official, and I'm actually not sure the up official's official name. We always just say that he's the nice one. When he comes to our gym, he's always super nice, and some of the referees are a little grumpy towards the end of the night, and he's always very nice. So I'm not sure his name, but I'm sure he'll be glad to know he's known as the nice one.
Yes. Tack just long from Eckhart, who was trying to seal game 1 for the Corsairs, but the Cougars get the serve back. But a bit of an uphill battle as they are trailing 18 serving 24. Mariah Hall to serve. Bostwick to Middleton, sent back by the Cougars, and it will go out of bounds, and that will be the end of game 1, and that will go to the Corsairs by a score of 25-18. We'll take a quick break as the teams change sides, and we will return to Cuesta Gym for game 2 after this on Cuesta TV.
Cuesta.edu. Television, radio, broadcast, communications. Explore the world of digital communication and tap into your creative genius. Television, radio, broadcast, communications.
This is your boy, the DUI, and you're listening to KGUR.org.
Your digital future is at Cuesta College right now. Log on to Cuesta.edu now for enrollment dates and class information.
Don't get the boom in this shot. Blown it, bro.
Cuesta.edu.
And we're back for game 2. It's the Corsairs of Santa Monica visiting the Cougars of Cuesta, and it were the Corsairs who won game 1 25-18. Raina Scovil with Marci Beddell, and Santa Monica, they're starting to kind of find their groove on offense and put together some good runs to take game 1.
Absolutely. I think Santa Monica pretty much had the momentum most of the game. Just Cuesta College had way too many unforced errors, but I think Cuesta College has a lot of talent. If they can take advantage of Santa Monica's unforced errors, then I think they have a chance here.
Elena Eckhart, a little bit surprised, one of the freshmen on this team from Palm Springs with the service into the net. So libero Bailey Price back into serve, one of the key roles, as Marci was saying during game 1 of the libero. Sumaripa with a powerful attack from the right side. We've seen that a bunch tonight. Cole into the block, came right back to the Cougars. Price will keep it in play and will be hit back over free by the Cougars, with Yoon digging it over to the left side. Another attack for Santa Monica, dinked over, and that will be Dunham. And that will be a violation against the Corsairs. 2-0 Cuesta.
Well, so far already, Cuesta's been doing a better job of covering. They just got blocked 3 times in a row, and they did a great job of coverage.
Whitney Meyer with some adjustments between games. Left side attack. Coming up, Dunham. Full opposition will have to dink it over. Sumaripa at the net, and though Dunham and Cole were both there, it will be the first point of the game for the Corsairs, as Sumaripa will come out, and rotating into serve is going to be the first appearance, I believe, of Taylor Eden, who is a woman of mystery, listing no other information. We know she went to high school somewhere. We just don't know where yet. Attack from the back row, and it will go off Eden and out of bounds. Cougars will get it back at 2 apiece. Although sometimes there is, and I know you do a lot of PA announcing too, where sometimes you have the number that does not appear on the roster. At least we got a number and a name this time.
At least we have a number and a name.
Dunham will send it into the net. And back to the Corsairs. And 2 serving 3. Megan Middleton, the setter from Pacific Palisades, to serve here early in game 2. Game 1 taken by the Corsairs, 25-18. Price mishit it. A nice bit of hustle by Rasmussen just to get a hand on it, but it will be tied at 3. Middleton to the back row. Cougars will go to the middle, sent right back by Hicks. And off the block, a point for Taylor Rasmussen. Again, another outside player, 5'7", maybe a little undersized, but again has some good vertical.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a tremendous athlete. She's fast. She jumps really high. She just tooled the block, which is really what her angle needs to be. It's just tooling that block. She's not tall enough to jump and hit over them. She just needs to tool that block.
Wet serve and a powerful attack. That was Kelsey Mole, as you had talked about before. Just a great all-around player for the Corsairs. It will be a point for Santa Monica at 4-4. Chelsea Bostwick serving. Dunham mishit it a little bit, but kept in play, though, by Woodside.
That was a great save.
Not only that, it was headed right for me.
Yeah.
So it was a good save from that regard, too.
Saved all of us.
5-4, though, ultimately a Santa Monica point. Bostwick sends it to Dunham. We had to feel that one a little bit high. Over to the left side, the attack taken in the back row by Price. Had a hard time controlling it. Woodside again. Able to at least get a hand on it, but not control it. It's 6-4 Corsairs. Bostwick serve taken by Price. From the middle, pull through the block, Yoon. And it's going to be middle to Mole. Cole again, and it will be deflected off of Yoon. Cougars get the serve back at 5-6, so Price the libero comes out. Going into the front row will be number 12, Dakota Shin.
Oh, Cole again showing off that speed, and she's not, by far not the tallest one on the court, but really, really runs circles around Santa Monica's middle. That's a little bit taller and slower.
And she's serving. It's hard for Santa Monica to handle it, but unfortunately, Mariah Hall unable to fully control it at the net. Substitution, Eden will come back out, and back into the front row will be Cameron Sumaripa, number 8, out of La Quinta High School. Yoon, the libero, sends this over at 7-5. Return is a little bit long, and that will be an easy put away for the Corsairs, 8-5.
What is a Corsair?
I see a pirate flag on our
That's what
excellent
I was
game
gonna say,
graphics that John Arno and his staff have done, so I need to find out. Very nice. And by the way, we understand it's Taylor Songstead who did the graphics, as John Arno, our producer and the coordinator of the FTVE program here at Cuesta, informs us.
I'll have to Google that, what a Corsair is.
Hit into the net by Woodside at 9-6. I'm going to guess it has something to do with sailing, given Santa Monica's location. 10-6 now for the Corsairs.
So Coach Whitney is adjusting the serve receive. They're struggling a little bit in this rotation, which is a typical thing coaches will do just to give the server a different look.
Digged over by Cole, sent back over, and it will go wide. And something, too, we found out before the game, we're both children of football coaches. I was going to say in serve reception, I would think there's different configurations, but also kind of like in football where you try and disguise your true intent, your true formation.
Absolutely, yeah. There's certain areas because of the rules of volleyball, you can't move players wherever you want. You have to keep them within their rotations. But yeah, part of that is where you want them to run a play for offense. So it's very strategic. It's probably one of the more strategic things as a volleyball coach that you can kind of manipulate.
11-7, Eckhart with the serve. Sent over by Shin. And the backset at Sumaripa through the block, and it will be another point for the Corsairs at 12-7. Price the libero coming in for Woodside. Eckhart will serve again at 12-7. Again, Corsairs, as you can see from our graphics, taking game one by a score of 25-18. Rasmussen sends it back, dug out by Yoon, through the block, and a point by Eckhart to make it 13-7, and she'll head back for another serve. See, Turin Douglas also just emphasizing it seemed to continue to communicate, because there's a lot of on-court communication. A lot of people who watch volleyball may not be aware of, as Price sends this one up over to the left side. Blocked back. Cougars will try it again for the back row. Dinked over by Cole, found an open spot, hit over free, dug by Price. It'll go for the left side, dinked over by Shin. Left side, and that was Bostwick. Dinked over by Cole again, another great dig by Hicks. Sent back over Middleton, and then it will be a timeout after another.
That's a good call by Coach Whitney to take a timeout after that play. That was a nice long rally. Give her players a little bit of a breath and try to stop the momentum. Once again, that Santa Monica just continues to Santa Monica continues to be able to keep the momentum. So it was a good call by Coach Whitney to take a timeout, long rally, let her players get a little breath, get some water, and then hopefully try to slow them down. You have to try to slow the other team down as much as possible. Volleyball is a huge part of volleyball is momentum.
Well, you've also talked about how fast the Santa Monica offense is because of the quick sets that can get in position quickly. Do you see that they're still struggling to adjust to that?
Absolutely, and just looking even at the rosters, Santa Monica, and probably obviously because of the location, they have a lot of players from Southern California. Southern California is kind of the hub of volleyball, and I guarantee a lot of their players play beach, which is just a lot quicker game, and a lot of really, really good ball control. So Cuesta just trying to keep up with the speed of the game right now.
Well, besides the faster game, what are some other aspects playing beach, obviously beyond it being volleyball, translate really well to the indoor game?
Reading. I would say reading, if you look at really, really good beach players, it's not necessarily that they're always the fastest, but they can read where the hitter is going. They can read what the setter is going to do.
Hit long and out by Taylor Rasmussen to make it 15-7. Also, we were mentioning where Coach Douglas was talking about communication. During a play, itself, what kind of things are the players calling out to each other?
They're calling out where the hitters are coming from, what they're expecting to come over. We always say to our players, say what you see. Is the pass off the net? Is the set off the net? Wait, wait, wait. Blockers will tell each other, wait, 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 because the set is off the net versus having the ball on the net, you know, where they anticipate that the setter is going to set.
Corsairs continuing their run after the timeout at 16-7, but just a plain miss hit by Eckhart is what's going to bring it to a halt here. It's going to be 8 serving 16 as Cougars deciding what they want to do here, and it's going to be Woodside coming in with Shin out, and back to serve is the libero Bailey Price out of Kingsburg and Emmanuel High School. 8 serving 16, and a whistle prior to that, and we have a violation here.
Yeah, so it looks like Cuesta was a little confused on their rotations. The libero ran out and then came back in, and then another player came back in, and they were just called on out of rotation.
So in that case, that's effectively a side out
So
point.
it's effectively, yeah, side out point for Santa Monica.
Sumaripa comes out, and Eden coming in to serve, number 4 for the Corsairs at 17-8. Eden there with a dig in the back row. It's going to be Hicks from the back row, and a kill back in the corner out of the reach of Price, 18-8. Again, Santa Monica starting the season a little bit later than the Cougars. They played 5 fewer matches, but again,
Wow.
on a run.
They definitely don't look inexperienced.
And they do have 3 sophomores who are available, and missing the other injured players we'd refer to as this one is going to go off of Price and into the hand of Coach Whitney Meyer. It is 19-8. Taylor Eden into the net. Cougars get it back at 9:19. We're going to see for the first time Savannah Spinharney, number 10, a setter out of Templeton High School, one of 4 Central Coast players the Cougars have this year, and she's going to go back in and serve. Abby Vieira's also out of Templeton. Cassidy Hamer, who we talked about, who's not playing because of the rodeo, is out of Santa Ynez High School. There's also Woodside, who's out of St. Joe's in Santa Maria.
Yeah.
Off the net, dug out by Price.
Templeton High School, I was just trying to look at the players that they have. They're having a great high school season this year.
And it's going to be a carry against the Cougars to give it back to the Corsairs at 20-9. Middleton, saved by Price, and it will be sent over by Mariah Hall. From the middle, it's going to be Moore through the block. And I know what you were talking about earlier, just a very athletic player. You can see her where really she's starting to take control in the middle.
Absolutely, yeah. She's very strong. She's, you know, fairly tall, especially in comparison to McKelly Cole, so she's definitely using her strength right now.
Out of Chaminade High School in LA, number 17. Hall going on the diagonal and able to find it for a Cougar point.
That's a great swing by Hall, just going that seam block. Santa Monica does a pretty good job of setting their block early, but she saw that seam and went that corner.
As you can see, 10 serving 21 in game 2. The serve, though, is going to go long for Rasmussen and make it 22-10 as the Corsairs are 3 points away in game 2. Chelsea and Bostwick to serve once more. Corsairs won the first game, 25-18. That's going to go into the net.
Lots of missed serves tonight
Yeah.
from both teams. Quite a few missed serves.
Price out, and Dakota Shin returns to the front line. Dakota out of Oroville. And Kelly Cole, as Marci has mentioned, has been doing some great play in the middle tonight since the serve over. A little miscommunication, and the free hit is going to go well out of bounds from Eckhart. Cougars put a couple points together. It's 12 serving 22. To the left side, Eckhart. Dug up by Spinharney. Tapped over by the Cougars. Eckhart going long but wide. And the attack attempt in the deep corner. It's 13-22. Cougars putting some points together.
Yeah.
And not coincidentally, Santa Monica timeout.
Santa Monica timeout. Coach Whitney, I think, made a really good call. Number 10, Savannah Spin-Harney, went into the game as a setter, and number 6, Mariah Hall, who has been setting, stayed in as a hitter, so they could have 3 options versus just having 2 options. That was a great call to just be able to spread out your offense a little bit more. When your setter is setting on the front row, you only have 2 hitting options. And if you're not passing great, your middle isn't able to get set. So then you only have 1 hitting option. So I think Coach Whitney made a really, really great call to put another setter in there so they can have all 3 hitters in the front row as options.
I was going to say, as far as front row, back row players, if somebody's had a position in the front row, is it fairly unusual to have a traditional front row player who is a good option, a good hitting option?
Absolutely, yeah. It depends on your team makeup. A lot of coaches like to only have the 2 hitting options. If you have a middle blocker, probably like Kelly Cole. Kelly Cole's a great athlete that can run sets behind, what's called a slide or an in. Then it's great to have a front row setter, but in this case, I think right now it's great that they have all 3 hitting options available.
Cougars have put some points together behind Cole, 13-22. Eden digs it in the backcourt. Eckhart from the left side once again. This time she finds the range and gets the service back at 23-13. Sumaripa will come back in for Eden, and Mole will come out and be replaced by Yoon as the libero, and she will be the server with the Corsairs looking for 2 points here to close out game 2 if they can. Set up, Spin-Harney with the set. Shin with the attack. This is set a high. Eckhart been doing a lot of the attacking as of late. Spin-Harney with the back set. Is blocked back over. Sent over by Shin, and Cole unable to get it. It is game point in game 2. As you see, Megan Yoon out of Culver City High School. Build in the back row. Spin-Harney hustling over for the set. Cole's attack is long, and that is it for game 2. Straight game so far for the Corsairs after taking game 1 25-18. They take game 2 25-13. We will take a break and be back with game 3 of the match. You're watching Cuesta HD TV.
Cuesta.edu. Television, radio, broadcast, communications. Explore the world of digital communication and tap into your creative genius. Television, radio, broadcast, communications.
This is your boy, the DUI, and you're listening to KGUR.org.
Your digital future is at Cuesta College right now. Log on to Cuesta.edu now for enrollment dates and class information.
Hey, don't get the boom in the shot. Blown it, bro.
Cuesta.edu.
And welcome back. We're getting ready for game 3. It's the Corsairs of Santa Monica College against the Cuesta College Cougars. I'm Randy Scovil with Marci Beddell, varsity coach at San Luis High. The first 2 games taken by the Corsairs, 25-18 and 25-13. For Coach Whitney Meyer trying to get things back on track here. obviously it's an uphill battle. You've got to get 3 games, but what do you focus on for game 3?
I think, their continued focus just needs to be on minimizing their unforced errors. Still a lot of missed serves, balls that are being hit out. Santa Monica is too good of a team to have that many unforced errors.
Bailey Price to start things off, and it will be a service ace for a point, and that's a good start for the Cougars, as Bailey, one of many freshmen, the only sophomores this year, both returners Mariah Hall and Kelly Cole, as it ticks the net, stays in play. It's going to be Suma Ripa from the right side that she is quite fond of, and getting it 1-1. Now Suma Ripa, we see moving on over there, and she will rotate out here, but seems to be a very physical, strong player who can really elevate.
Yeah, she does a really good job of mixing up her hits. On defense out of transition, she's calling what she's hitting. So she's hitting threes, which are in front of the setter. She's hitting some slides behind the setter. She does a good job of mixing it up.
Taylor Hicks with the first serve for her in a while, and the return goes along for the Cougars. So Hicks will serve again at 2-1 in favor of the Corsairs, up 2 games in game 3. Hicks, another player like Yoon out of Culver City, and that one just kind of fell off the table in front of Colby Woodside, 3-1.
Yeah, the one thing I think Cuesta College could really benefit from, they haven't been tipping or roll shotting, or kind of just not strategic about their offense. They're going up and hitting hard, which is good, but they have quite a few errors, so they could throw in some tips here and there and be a little bit more effective.
Price fielded that high, but able to keep it in play. Cougars sent it back on. Mole from the middle again. Dug up by Woodside. Rasmussen dug by Hicks. Left side, and this time it's going to be Bostwick, and Bostwick is going to get the point.
Bostwick is another one that is playing out of position, I think, due to injuries. She's normally an opposite hitter, and she's playing outside hitter, and is adjusted very well.
And Hicks with the service error, 2-4, and again, from technical terms, what defines an opposite player?
So an opposite player is somebody that hits on is on the right side versus an outside hitter that hits on the left side. So it's a little bit of a different approach. The ball, and as an opposite, the ball kind of crosses your body. So it's an adjustment. Bostwick just got another kill for Santa Monica, and like I said, she's adjusting very well.
Back to serve Megan Middleton. One of the sophomores on this team, 5 serving 2 in game 3. Set up, and it will be tapped over from Cole, who really didn't have a lot of options there. Yoon able to maneuver around her own player, at least keep it in play, but that didn't leave too much for Paula Hicks, and the Cougars will get it back at 3-5. Taylor Rasmussen. Fielded by Yoon. Back set, and it will be Bostwick again. And she was able to pull that one out. Got it in the corner, and nice precision hit for her again, deep in the Cougar defense, 6-3. Spin Harney, who came in game 2, out there to start game 3. Part of the Cougar offense, and another score off the deflection by Santa Monica to make it 7-3. Again, both of these teams have won their last 3 matches.
Santa Monica has some really, really great servers, and they're just doing a great job of getting the Cougars. As you see there again, Bailey Price shanking a ball out of their offense. If you can't pass the ball, you can't set your hitters.
Well, looking at servers, other than obviously hit it where they ain't and make it hard for people to return it, but as far as techniques for servers, what kind of things do you have to master to be a good server?
Your toss, definitely. It all starts with the toss, and then shoulder rotation is where you actually get your power from. And yeah, but definitely starts with the toss. If you toss too high, too far behind you, you're going to lose some of your power. Too low, you're not going to make it over. So starts with the toss.
9-3. And in this case, it's going to be Bostwick into the net. Kelly Cole to serve for the Cougars at 4-9 in game 3. Both teams won their first match against WSC opponents on going to be back set by Harney, and a dink perfectly placed by Mariah Hall to get the Cougars a point.
No, that's exactly what I was talking about, is having them mix up their hits. Santa Monica's pretty deep on defense and kind of on their heels, not ready for that. That's a great, great job.
5-9. Yoon takes it. They go over to the right side to Hicks. Spin Harney with the set. Dinked over, again mixed up a bit. And it will come right back to Eckhart. It will go off Spin Harney. Cole, though, keeps it in play, and it will be a free hit over by Spin Harney into the net by the Cougars. And we have a carry. So the Cougars kept it in play, forced an error on Santa Monica, got another point.
And say that was a great angle by Spin Harney. I don't know how she passed that.
6-9. And service ace, 7-9. Spin Harney, one of the players we mentioned out of Templeton. And interesting developments. We were talking a little bit between games about high school volleyball, and one of the important developments I know you've talked about, and being somebody from the Valley, is the long-discussed change where we are going to now see local schools compete in the central section rather than the southern section.
Absolutely, yes. The Pac-8 and the Los Padres League, most of the schools have come together and decided for CIF to go central section versus southern section. For all sports, not just for volleyball, but I know at least in volleyball's case, there's some really, really good teams in the central section, but there's not as many as, southern section, again, like we said, is such a hub for volleyball. So, it might be a little bit easier, give teams a little bit of an advantage from this area to compete and be able to win some CIF championships that have kind of eluded most people from the central section. I was
going to say, and kind of looking ahead to that competition, you're a coach who came to San Luis High from the Valley. Where did you coach previously, and what are some of the power teams in the central section?
So I coached at Buchanan High School, which is a Division I school out of Clovis. And, every team is going to be in a different division according to competitive equity. So, for example, Arroyo Grande, which has been a powerhouse team from, this area, is going to be in Division I. At Templeton, as we see, 2 players on Cuesta's team, they've had some really, really good seasons the past couple of years, will be in Division II.
Another point for the Cougars, 8 serving 9. Cole serving to try and tie it up in game 3. Hicks sends it, fielded high though. Paul, and it's taken by Middleton. Yoon to set it up. Eckhart coming from the left, and just got it in there to get the serve back at 10-8. I know you're talking about competitive equity. Is that, trying to think of a good analogy, kind of like soccer relegation, where so if you play well, you're going to move up?
Exactly, yeah. Say if you've been perpetually good over the last couple of years, then you're going to move up divisions, where the divisions used to be how big is your school. So you take like a small private school in LA. Some of those schools are small, but they're really, really good at volleyball. And so no longer does it matter on your school size. It matters on the success of your team as what division you're in. Which has kind of been a long-held complaint by a lot of coaches for private schools, that they may be small, but they're very, very good because they can recruit.
Mole, who is serving up 2, but it's been a long point spin. Harney keeping it alive, sent on over by Sumaripa. A little bit off balance. Shin able to get it over, though, and keep it alive after the deflection and get the Cougars the serve and a point at 9-10, as we'll have a timeout called over here. And again, from your knowledge of the Valley, as local teams are going to start playing, obviously, in the playoffs against some of these schools, at least on the volleyball side, who are some of the powers in the central section we should keep an eye out for?
Buchanan High School, where I'm from, is definitely one of the powerhouses, not to be biased, but they are. They're very good. Central High School out of Fresno area is another really, really good team. They have some amazing athletes. And it's just a different, it'll be interesting to see how the Central Coast adjusts, because in the central section, they start playing sports, not just volleyball, but they start playing sports at the elementary in 4th grade, which is a huge, I think, kind of thing that we're missing here in the Central Coast, to be able to give kids that opportunity to play sports at a young age and for free. There's lots of club sports. And
yes, there are.
Lots of opportunities for club sports, but I think that'll be the difference, is to see if the Central Coast adjusts, because you're going to start seeing the competition from the central section schools that are, again, playing at the elementary level and getting kids kind of locked in their sport at a very early age.
And you may see behind us Megan Middleton. They signaled the trainers to take a look at her with the score 9-10. Is that something that you're looking to foster around here then, is some getting girls the opportunity to play earlier, like you say, and where finances are not an obstacle, because a lot of us who do have kids in youth sports, it can be expensive.
It's very expensive. Yeah, I think that's, I know Paso Robles had talked about moving in that direction, and, it obviously comes down to money, which is always kind of an issue, but I think that would be a great direction for this area to move into, is giving children that opportunity, again, with the emphasis on it being a free opportunity versus, ultimately you're going to leave students out of the process if they can only play sports that cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Do you see also, again, with our nice coastal location, we are in California after all, that may be fostering some beach opportunities as well to give people more opportunities to play?
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually Brady Halverson is the boys coach at San Luis Obispo High School, and he's a former AVP beach volleyball player, and he's been starting a lot of beach volleyball. I know Arroyo Grande has their own beach volleyball team at their high school, so yeah, there's quite a few opportunities in this area because that's now an NCAA sport.
Right, Cal Poly, one of the teams fielding a beach team, as after some delay we are back underway, and Eckhart able to dig it over and keep the Cougars at bay. The Cougars keep getting close, but the Corsairs able to get the serve back and make it 11-9 with Paula Hicks to serve in game 3. First 2 games won by Santa Monica 25-18 and 25-13. Hall keeps it in play. It'll be Cole sending it over free from the back row, taken by Yoon. With the center attack, Sumo Ripa has it sent back summarily by Dakota Shin.
That's a great block.
And that's a good block. And I think somebody would enjoy watching that. We were talking before, Ron Barba, the women's basketball coach here, who has Dakota playing for him.
I was just going to say, you can definitely tell Dakota's not just a volleyball player, but a great athlete.
As we will have Price, the libero, coming in, and Woodside out for the Cougars. Serve back to the Corsairs at 12-10. Elena Eckhart from Palm Springs, outside hitter.
That was a great serve by number 2, Elena Eckhart.
Hall coming out of nowhere with a great save to keep it in play, and another case where it was looking really bad for Cuesta. They just kept hustling and just got the ball over the net, and good things happened for them.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the major differences why this game is a lot closer is just minimizing their unforced errors, and they're what we call in volleyball very scrappy. They're not letting anything hit the ground.
Quick pause to check rotations. And we had an issue where the Cougars had a rotation violation. Coach Turhan Douglas talking with our floor official as Price is eagerly ready to serve.
So it's one of those things that happens when you have a lot of players missing, a lot of players that are injured, and you have players playing out of position. Mistakes can happen.
Yoon takes it deep. Hicks for the left side. And sent over by Bostwick. Fired strong by Rasmussen, but Yoon able to control it. Bostwick again to the back row. Price saves it. Sent over by Hall, who was unable to control properly. It is a double hit and a substitution now with the serve going back to the Corsairs. Taylor Burks, number 12, back into serve, and Cameron Sumaripa, number 8, will sit and talk with Coach Turn Douglas. 13 serving 11 in game 3. Rasmussen, and it's going to be Cole from the middle. Off Hicks, Burks has it, sent over free by Eckhart. One-handed by Cole to save it, and just long from Taylor Rasmussen. Point for the Corsairs, as Coach Whitney Meyer appealing to our floor official with emphasis.
With emphasis. Those line judges sometimes get a little fancy with their flags, so I think she thought he called it in and then called it out.
Well, I was going to say, as a coach and working with the referees, I know you'd say you're a very spirited vocal coach, which I like you more for that. you know, sometimes you can get yellow cards as a coach, but I would think at some point you really always have to be advocating for your players.
Absolutely, yeah. For me, that's what it comes down to. You want your players to know that you're backing them up, and that you're not gonna, let anybody, whether it's a referee or sometimes crazy fans, you're not gonna let anybody push them around. So, as much as you can respect referees, you also want to make sure that they know that you're watching them.
12-15, and it'll be Spin Harney to serve. Came in to serve as part of her first appearance in the middle of Game 2 and has stayed on in Game 3. At the net, as Hall was there to challenge Bostwick, and Hall wins that challenge. Point for the Cougars. Cougars down 2. They keep getting to within perhaps 1, but trying to catch the Corsairs as Game 3 rolls on. Yoon. It's Hicks. Bostwick off the deflection. Serve back to the Corsairs, 16-13. Taylor Eden, number 4, to serve. Meanwhile, Coach Douglas taking a look back to see what the prognosis is on Middleton. She's still sitting on the trainer's table behind us. Spin Harney. Woodside sends one deep. It's going to be Bostwick again, sent back by the Cougars. Yoon will try Bostwick again. Found an opening. Cougars kept it alive, but Rasmussen unable to get it over. 17-13.
Okay, number 1 for Santa Monica, Paula Hicks has stepped into that setting position for Middleton, and she's doing a great job. Setting is kind of like the quarterback of the court. They have a lot of responsibilities. She's doing really well.
Miscommunication, tapped over. Cougars sent it right back over. That was Mariah Hall. Bostwick with a little bit of a surprise, but then maybe surprised a bit also when it came back from Cole. Point for the Cougars. So the setter obviously is the focal point of the offense, being able to direct it for the attacks, but what other responsibilities does the setter have?
For me, the setters usually have the responsibility. You saw them getting a little out of rotation, and that's usually kind of a setter responsibility, knowing where all the players are on the court at all times, and just kind of you're the conductor. Like I said, you're the quarterback, and it's not an easy position to step into if you're not used to doing it.
Hall had that one-handed no look, and then this time part of the attack, and Colby Woodside with a kill. Cougars get it back, and again within 2, so they're hanging around. Taylor Rasmussen, adjustment by Santa Monica, and again part of that, again like Marci said, is they're a little short-handed, so people playing out of position. And another kill, this time it's Mariah Hall who comes on the angle, and the Cougars again within 1.
So you can tell what a difference a setter makes, that this has become a quite a different game without Middleton in here.
I can say also that there seems to be a bit of a change for the Cougars too since Spin Harney's come in.
Yeah, definitely. I think having Mariah Hall as an option to hitter, as Spin Harney just goes to her, she's a great hitter. She sees the court very well.
Ball from the middle. Spin Harney, though, unable to handle that one. That was coming at her fast. 2 Cougars give chase. And once again, the Cougars come within 1, and it goes back to the Corsairs at 18-16. Corsairs won game 1 25-18, game 2 25-13. Cougars have kept it close, though, throughout game 3. Hall taken by Eden, and a surprise, it's going to be Paula Hicks at the net on the second hit, and the surprise is successful at 19-16.
That was a gutsy move by Paula Hicks. I like that. You want that as a setter, somebody that's going to take risks.
Trainer right now talking to Coach Turin Douglas, and judging purely by his facial expression, I don't think we're going to see Middleton back right away. Cougars get it back, though. It's Kelly Cole to serve. All right, Middleton is just on the bench with an ice pack. Dinked over by Eckhart. Spin Harney with the set. Sent over by Shin. Yoon's got it. Hicks, and it's Mole from the middle. And Mole, powerful kill in the back row. 20-17. Sumaripa back in. Mole's going to come out, with Yoon replacing her. Also, Hicks coming out with Sumaripa back in. Yoon serve. Taken by Rasmussen. It's going to be Hall, though, at the net. It's Elena Eckhart. Timeout called by Whitney Meyer. Again, staying a little close, but now it's padded out to a 4-point lead. But again, at some point you run out of points. And in this case, it would be the match because you have to catch up at some point. And
Definitely.
4 points away at this point. But a lot of positives in this game where, like you say, they've been playing really scrappy. They're not letting the ball hit too much. You know, they're trying to make some things happen, but still trying to kind of close that gap.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you had said earlier, bringing Spin Harney in was a really, really good idea so they could have 3 hitters. And Hall, who is a setter, but obviously can hit very well. And because she's a setter, I think she sees the court. She's, I think, the only one on Cuesta's team so far who tipped, not because she had to, but just to be strategic, and she got a kill. It was working for them. I'd like to see Cuesta do a little bit more of that because they're, you know, Rasmussen, I would pick Rasmussen to be my beach partner or my grass partner any day. She's little, but she just jumps. She's super fast, and she hits the ball really well, but I'd like to see her mix it up. And, you know, when you're little, you have to have some tricks in your bag, and I think Cuesta's done a good job of minimizing their errors. Now they just have to execute a little bit more. If I'm Douglas, I'm just trying to squeak this out with a win, having my starting setter on the bench. So hopefully the rest of the team kind of steps it up.
She's limping along. She still has her shoes on, but a big ice pack on the right knee. And will take a seat back on the bench. 21-17 in game 3. And Corsairs trying to put it away. Cougars hanging in there, though. Shin not able to get it elevated enough into the net. 22-17. Spin Harney with the set, and Cole unable to get something going for the Cougars. It's down to 2 points. Cougars play a total of 4 matches against other WSC teams, but the other 4 teams in their division they play twice, so really the heart of conference play is still to come for the Cougars, especially via the usual suspects. But getting a great challenge tonight from the Corsairs. Hit over free by Shin. Bostwick, and again with the surprise, it's Paula Hicks. It works again for her, and we are at match point.
Save Paula Hicks for being little. She really jumps. She gets up there pretty well, and she sees the court. She's aggressive. To step in, like I said, to step in as a setter this late in the game, and it was a kind of a tight game at one point. So Paula Hicks kind of came in and owned it. You got to love that as a coach.
Whitney Meyer talking with her team and also taking advantage of the extensive experience of Rocky Nystrom, 33rd year as a assistant or head coach. Jeremy Douglas, Nicole Lindman, and Alyssa Miller also part of the coaching staff. So,
and Nicole Lindman is actually from the Valley. She went to Clovis West High School, which was my rival. Buchanan and Clovis West are very, very big rivals. And her brother is a coach as well in the Valley.
Cougars with a good record coming in at 8-4. They did finish 3rd in the WSC last year. Bouncing back, and we're 12-10 overall. So already closing in on last year's win total. Corsairs won only 3 matches all last year. On Wednesday, they surpassed that, as this will go long and finish off the match for the Cougars, as the Cougars go down in straight games, 25-18, 25-13, 25-17, and talking with Marci Beddell as we look to wrap things up here. A very challenging team to play because, again, of the speed of the offense. I would think that's going to, help prepare the Cougars going forward, having seen something like that. But as far as takeaways, if you're Whitney Meyer and you're getting ready to get into the real heart of conference season, what are some positives? What are some things you focus on for your next match?
Yeah, I think positives are definitely, they're very athletic. I mean, to be able to have good athletes that, I was talking about Taylor Rasmussen. I would choose her as my beach partner, my grass partner any day. And definitely middle blocker. Kelly Cole did amazing. She jumps out of the gym, even though she's little, she jumps out of the gym. So they have some really good options. I think it's just making sure that they really, really do a better job of minimizing their unforced errors. They missed a lot of serves, hit a lot of balls out. And like I said, they're not really tall, so when you're little, you're going to get blocked, which is fine. But you got to have more tricks in your bag. You have to see the court, you have to tip, you have to roll shot. And I think if they can do some more like strategic things offensively, because they're not very big, they definitely can be very successful because they're super athletic. The libero, Bailey Price, I thought did a really good job. She hustles, she never lets balls drop. And it'd be interesting to see what the Cougars could do with their outside hitter coming back, Cassidy Hammer, coming back as well.
And just before we go to take a look at Santa Monica getting the win tonight, and again missing 5 players, seeing them in action, again some players playing out of position and making some of the adjustments that you talked about. What did you like about their team tonight?
Yeah, I really liked number 17, Kelsey Mole, who played middle and normally is an opposite hitter. To be an opposite and transfer that over to middle is, really, really hard. You're basically running the whole court as a blocker. You have to see all 3 hitters. It's very, very intense position and not an easy one at all to transfer to. So I thought Kelly Mole did a great job. And Middleton, the setter, prior to getting hurt, she ran a really fast offense. She looked at her matchups really well and set the players according to Cuesta College's blockers. And then Paula Hicks coming in and trying to set. I mean, that, like I said, is the hardest position to come into. And I thought that she was super feisty and did an amazing job.
Well, Marci Beddell, great to work with you for the very first
Thank
time,
you.
and hope
Thank
that you'll come back in the future. And again, we want to thank John Arno and all of his crew here from the FTVE program at Cuesta College. I'm Randy Scovil. The final score tonight, it was 3-0. Cougars losing to Santa Monica. Cougars now fall to 8-5 and 1-1 in conference. Again, you can see all of our programming, including Cuesta Sports Monthly, online at youtube.com/Cuesta HDTV. For all of our crew, thanks for joining us, and good night.